Hi everyone, welcome to the session. This is Ramanuj. Yeah, it's a cold winter day in Delhi. I'm logging in from here, and we are going to talk about career as an in-house counsel and how to do this, right? And it's going to be very interesting because in-house counsel as a career has been on the rise, and we have seen growing interest in this on an ongoing basis. There are a lot of different issues over of points of interest on working as an in-house counsel for people. And thank you for logging in on essentially a Sunday morning for this session. So, how many of you here are actually already in-house counsels or planning to become an in-house counsel? Would you share in the chats? Because the chat is open. I'll just type it a hi for all of you so you can see where to post. Yeah. So what's up, guys? How many of you are interested in becoming an in-house counsel? Is there somebody who's already an in-house counsel in the group? Shubham has responded. What about the rest of you? All right. So for those who logged in late, this is Ramanuj Mukherjee from LawSikho, and we are talking about how to be an in-house counsel, how to do the work of an in-house counsel. And as we can see, people are logging in, like logging still in, numbers going up. I think we need to send out some reminders. All right, guys. So if you are a student, okay, there's Saurabh Agarwal, not yet, exploring different dimensions. Nehal is saying, I'm independent, trying to find a way to get in-house. So there are some lawyers also with us who are interested in becoming in-house counsels, working in a company. Now, let me start with what are the pros and cons of working as an in-house counsel, right? So the pros of working as an in-house counsel is that you get to work, you really get to develop your understanding of law in a more comprehensive way, right? So if you are an outside counsel, if you are working in a law firm or you're an independent counsel, you need to specialize a lot. Okay, you need to specialize into something very specific. Lawyers who specialize earn more money. Lawyers who specialize tend to do better, have better clientele, get more remunerative matters which are heavier. People prefer to go to a specialist, right? Uh, Work that has a lot of margin, lot of premium work tends to go to specialists. But in-house counsel jobs are not like that. It's something that requires you to have an overall understanding of law. If you are an in-house counsel, you cannot say that, hey, I don't understand tax at all. Sorry. There are sometimes you have to take a decision on tax laws and questions of tax also. You cannot say that I do not understand anything about, let's say, competition law. If competition law knocks on your door, then you have to know about competition law. You have to talk about competition law. You have to deal with it, right? You have to learn and you have to deal with it if needed. If you don't know, sometimes you get to hire for some specific things, you may get to hire an outside lawyer and get their advice. But even if you get their advice, you still have to take a call. You have to still make up your mind. You have to still decide what works and what doesn't work. You cannot be relying on outside advice blindly. For a long time, it was believed by many lawyers that the job of an in-house counsel is that of a conduit, someone who's taking the problems of the company and passing it off to outside counsels and just managing the work. And that has not remained so. I can't think of too many companies. Like more and more companies are building their own um, teams, legal teams, which can do the work, which reduces their dependency of having to go to outside lawyers because it works out cheaper for them to hire an in-house lawyer. Okay, to give you an example, uh, let's say, so I'll give you an example. So recently, a friend came to me and said that, Ramanuj, I need around 30 contracts negotiated every month. Okay, I have 30 contracts that needs hardcore negotiation, we need a lawyer, and each of these contracts are quite different in nature. There are different, jurisdictions, different countries involved. Okay, and I'm paying a lot of money to law firms to negotiate these things. So I was thinking that I should find somebody on a retainer. Maybe I can retain a law firm which regularly does. Do you think that'll reduce my cost, etc.? And I told him that, surely you could go to a law firm, but the way I see it, it will be much better to hire a lawyer inside the company, right? Um, Provided you can find a lawyer who can deal with all these laws in different countries. And it turned out that the country specific element is very little, by the way. Okay, and you can always, if you are working in around 30 countries or 20 countries where you're regularly entering into contracts, an in-house counsel has the time and incentive to learn that little bit of difference for each of those countries, right? And there's no problem with that. It can be done, and anyway, you can specify certain jurisdictions as your seat for arbitration, rules of arbitration. You can set them as the country, which country's law will be governing the contract, etc. So all of that can be set by the contract itself. And so basically he ended up so he was paying around, he realized that he's paying 8 to 10 lakhs to people sometimes, in contracts, to law firms. And now he just hired one lawyer. He pays the lawyer 1 lakh rupees per month, and it's an in-house counsel. That lawyer basically every day works on new contracts, and he's going to hire more lawyers, by the way, because it clearly he's liking what's happening, and he's going to hire more lawyers under this lawyer, who's going to hire more lawyers to do compliances, to do litigation that may arise in the future as work grows. When the work is not, so for example, litigation is different though, right? So for example, an in-house counsel cannot go sit in the court, cannot go and argue before the court. You have to surrender your certificate of practice when you join a job full time as an in-house counsel. So you're not supposed to be arguing before courts. You can actually argue in certain forums. You can argue in arbitration, for example, but other places you are not supposed to. You're not supposed to practice before a court of law. Now, given that scenario, okay, sometimes they have to hire lawyers outside anyway, but you understand the incentive of a company is that we want an in-house lawyer who reduces costs and looks after the interests of the company long term. Because when a lawyer comes from the outside, they might be looking at one case as that case itself. They just have to win that case at best, right? But when there's an in-house counsel, the interest is in preventing that case from arising again altogether, right? So I will expect my lawyer to be proactive and think where I might get into a problem tomorrow, right? We don't have an in-house counsel, by the way. In LawSikho, we have around 40 people working with us, part-time or full-time, 30 people full-time. But many of our lawyers, but there is no in-house counsel, okay? And yesterday I was having a conversation with another lawyer, okay, at a party, and she's like, do you know that this data protection law has come now? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, are you guys compliant? Are you complying? I'm like, it just got passed. I haven't had time. I didn't actually think. Honestly, I never thought that, yeah, there's a data protection law. It applies to us. We need to work on it. We need to see if our policies are compliant with the data protection laws of India. I don't know what will be the quantum of damages if there's a breach, or if we fail to do so. I have no idea really. Now I'm running a business and I'm running in all directions. I have to make sure that the content is happening, new courses are launched, sales is happening. I have to make sure that marketing is going right. I'm a lawyer, but I don't have time to think about that aspect. Now imagine An outside lawyer is not going to think these things through, to anticipate where a problem may arise, to anticipate or to see that where the problem arose and how can we reduce the chances of that happening ever again. And that's the job of an in-house counsel. Okay, which is why companies prefer to hire in-house counsels rather than going to outside lawyers. So two reasons, right? One is that outside lawyers are more expensive by nature, and if you have outside counsels, they do not have long-term interests of the company in the mind. They only have the matter that they have been given. Can you expect as a company, if you hire a lawyer for one litigation, for one contract, for one some problem, can you expect them to sit and think about it as to, what practices we can introduce in the company to reduce, let's say, consumer litigation tomorrow, right? It's very hard. It's not going to happen with outside counsels. It's not even in their interests. Outside counsels, as interests are not aligned to reduce the number of disputes that happen in a company unless they are specifically hired and paid to do so, right? So this is the situation now. Uh, that is why there is a clear shift in companies. And who are the big clients, right? They're all companies. Big clients of law firms, companies. Big clients of Harish Salves and Ram Jetmalani's, etc. It's always a big company, right? There are big companies which are paying a lot of money to the lawyers. But for a long time, the idea was that, it's okay to go to a lawyer outside, we'll get quality legal services, etc. But currently, the trend worldwide, not only in India but worldwide, the trend is towards in-house legal. Okay, the power of in-house legal has increased within corporate structure. They are allocated more resources. They are taken more seriously. People are not thinking that we need a lawyer, some kind of lawyer inside our company, but anyway, at the end of the day, we have to rely on the big guys outside. That's not the mindset anymore. People are taking their in-house teams very seriously, paying good money, allocating resources, but expecting returns on investment. Okay. Okay. So now that I have given you this background, okay, I think you have began to understand, if you didn't know already, why in-house counsel is becoming a great job. So what is important to note is that many jobs which would have been otherwise created in a law firm, or many jobs that were earlier outside a company, are moved inside the company, are being moved inside the company. You need to understand this. So rather than hiring a law firm, the law firm in turn would have hired more people. I am hiring people inside my company, and that reduces costs. And that is my highest priority of legal budget. If that happens, that changes the dynamics of how the legal services market is structured. And this is happening, right? For a long time, bulk of the work of law, okay, bulk of legal work was either deals or litigation. That's it. And you don't do deals every other day, right? In a company, you might be doing one deal a year, or one deal in 5 years, or one deal in 10 years. And you don't know when you're going to have the next merger or acquisition or investment that you're going to make. So it did not make sense to hire an expensive merger and acquisition lawyer and keep in your team. Okay. So people used to go for deals or for litigation for that matter. Litigation was rare, and litigation anyway, in-house counsels cannot appear in the court. Also, they cannot run around the whole country and appear in different matters. So it makes sense that certain matters have to be given to outside counsels, and the people who are hired to handle those litigations inside the company are also lawyers, of course, right? There are lawyers who are experienced in litigation, sitting in a company, managing litigation all across the country. But increasingly, the in-house guy is becoming more and more important. The in-house lawyer provides the strategy, asks the outside counsel to implement. It's a big difference from how it used to be. Okay, for a long time, for a long time, the strategy came from the outside lawyer. The in-house lawyer was not in a position to tell the outside lawyer what strategy they should be taking for our matter. So it's our matter, we decide, we draft, and we give it to you. You just do the work in the way we are asking you to do. Now that's the kind of change that has happened in in-house legal space. Okay. With that understanding, let's move forward. Any questions till now? Anybody has any questions till now? Nehal and Shubham is interacting, but the rest of the people saying nothing. What's the matter, guys? Please share your questions in the chat so that I can take them up one by one. Okay. Okay. So, given that we have this, massive shift towards in-house counsel jobs, and a lot of in-house counsel jobs are getting created, and more will get created, it makes sense for every lawyer to take it very seriously. And it's important to understand that there's a massive difference in operating inside a business and operating outside a business as a lawyer. So inside a business, many people hate working with lawyers. Okay, there is still a perception that lawyers are roadblocks. They are not your friends, they are roadblocks. I wrote about this yesterday too. You cannot be an in-house lawyer who's a roadblocker. No lawyer should be like that. But there are in-house lawyers especially very important, because you are working with business people, right? They're not your clients, but they rely on your expertise to tell them how to achieve their business objectives, and they expect you to understand the business, right? So if I am running, let's say, a business of, let's say, export import or whatever, right? Let's say there will be some kind of a business model, and there will be some reasons why I succeed, what my competition is doing. For example, let's say I want to run a lottery kind of, or I want to maybe have scratch cards, for promotion, right? And I want to do like lucky draw and stuff like that. Now, is that legal? Is that legal? But my competition is doing. Now, if you're a lawyer who comes up with this law saying that, look, it is written here, this is not legal, this is illegal, there's this case law which makes it illegal, etc. Okay? And you tell, no, you can't do it. Then the business people who are going to say that, so now what do we do? If we follow the law, we are screwed, because all our competition is doing it and it's working and they are getting ahead of us. What are we supposed to do? Now, you can say one thing that, hey, we are not going to do something illegal to succeed in this business. But the point is that if you don't do anything, the business may not be there at all tomorrow. The question is, you have to give a solution. And can you do that? Can you come up with a solution knowing all the law that you know? Can you come up with something clever, something out of the box, something innovative, so that you can protect your company from legal issues, but do it in a way which is acceptable maybe, or something that can be done? What can be done? If you understand the business, you might be able to come up with a way of doing it that's acceptable legally. And that's your job. Your job is to protect the company's interests, and that takes something that requires to be really good, by the way. The good thing about being an in-house counsel is that you are in the heart of business, and you have to be an ally to the business people. You should be their best friend, right? They should come to you for ideas. And if you understand the business at that level, then you'll make a great in-house counsel. The other very important thing is that you must realize that in a company, people are more likely to have work-life balance. In law firms, in litigation chambers, generally work culture is really, really bad. I'm sorry to say that, but quite bad. Like, There are no work hours, fixed work hours, very difficult anyway, at least in litigation chambers, very difficult to have fixed work hours. If tomorrow you have a huge matter coming up, you may have to stay up at night and prepare on it, right? And you have to be in the court all day and then at night you work. So I understand in litigation chambers, but there is a tendency in many places to, not work during the day, work at night, and force people to stay at night, force young lawyers to stay back at night. They don't begin their work early enough. There are a lot of issues are there in law firms, and there are bullying, seniors bullying juniors in litigation and law firm, extremely quite, you know, common, I would say. But that is not the case in good in-house legal teams, because in-house legal teams have to maintain the culture of the bigger company. And good, successful companies are very protective of their work culture, because their work culture is an asset itself, right? They want to protect the environment. They don't want, toxic environment in the office. They do not want people to stay back and fall sick, etc., right? So it's very different over there. In companies, when you're working as a lawyer, you benefit from that. I'm sorry to say, can't say that about too many law firms or too many litigation chambers, but definitely work-life balance from that perspective. You still have a lot of work. You still will have long nights sometimes. Sometimes there'll be deadlines that, requires you to work really hard. But yes, in-house legal teams tend to be more efficient and tend to be more, well adjusted culturally in terms of, the need of an employee to, have the free time, have some leeway to, get the leaves and all of that. In a law firm, you may have leaves on paper. Taking the leave is so difficult sometimes that people never take leaves. Okay, out of fear of losing a bonus or out of fear of losing favor of their boss. But literally, that's not the case with in-house counsels, and I think that's a welcome thing that law firms and litigation chambers need to learn. Okay, so these are the plus points. The negative point, what is negative about it? I'll tell you. There are a couple of things that are there. Number one, law firms might pay more than in-house counsel jobs, but that is changing over time. In-house counsels also, get paid really well, if not as much as law firms over a period of time. If you take, a 5-year, 10-year horizon, very often we see that people are earning as much or more. That's very interesting. Sometimes people are working who are law firm partners are being hired by big corporations as in-house counsels to head their legal teams, which is also a really good thing. Now, uh, next question is that, if I am a young lawyer or a law student and I want to become an in-house counsel, how should I train myself? What I discussed till now, these are the most important abilities you need to develop, right? You need to have an overall understanding of law and not a mere knowledge of law from a textbook perspective, but being able to innovate is very critical. Being able to come up with solutions is very critical, right? So that's the entire thing about, and being proactive, anticipating what can be the problem tomorrow in my company, that I need to do something to prevent risk management, right? That thing you have to understand. Okay, how do you become like that? Number one is that you have to learn a number of laws. Okay, unlike, say, somebody can say, I want to be an IP lawyer, I want to do IP litigation, and they can do so. Yeah, there's no problem. You can be an IP lawyer, you can just learn IP law and practice. You can just learn trademark law and practice in the court doing trademark litigation or copyright litigation. But that's not the case if you want to be an in-house counsel. You need to know IP law, because almost all companies will have some IP matter or the other. You also need to know business structuring, how to structure a business to save taxes, to reduce liabilities, to organize it better. You need to learn, for example, compliances. What are the licenses? what are the permissions needed, what are the filings that has to be done. All of that you have to know. You also have to know real estate law, because if your business involves any amount of real estate, you might taking an office lease if nothing else. You might need shops or restaurants or whatever. Like depends on the business, of course. Real estate may be an important part of your business, so then you have to learn that. You may have to learn about technology law. Okay, you may have to learn about how to recover money from people who are not paying money to your company, maybe clients, maybe vendors who have done something. You might be facing consumer cases, then you have to know about consumer cases also. And you also have to learn how to manage people. You have to learn how to manage people. Sometimes you don't realize this, but can you hire a team? Can you manage a team? Can you delegate work? Can you structure at the top level in a company? Sometimes it matters is that can you plan how the legal department of this company will look like? How many senior people? How many junior people? What will they do? How will the work get divided? Okay, so that's also very important. So, so this is something. So, how do you learn all these things? Uh, I mean, how to learn is something that there are not too many things out there to learn in-house counsel work. Uh, we have a course, of course. We have a course which we offer to train in-house counsels on the work that they need to know. So we have 14 modules, right? So right from accounting, tax, which you need to know as an in-house counsel, to sectoral laws, to government contracts. You might be working with government contracts sometimes as a lawyer. Then import export. Then like so many things, right? Everything. Like you have to have an understanding of so many laws to be an in-house counsel. Okay, there are some specialist in-house counsel, labor and employment law. If I'm forgetting, one major area of work for in-house counsels is labor and employment law. Especially if you have a large workforce, you are likely to have a lot of issues there. Okay, so given that, guys, like how do you learn it? So I think more important to understand is what to learn. Once you understand what is there to be learned, then you begin to understand how to learn it. You can figure out a strategy for how to learn it once you know what is it that you have to learn. Okay, uh, let me take some questions at this point. Okay, Keshav is asking, is the in-house counsel's life busy? Yes, it's busy. Okay, it's getting busier, right? Because they are expected to perform, deliver returns, and there's no problem in getting money. But question is that how good are you? How important an advisor are you to the business? Because you are in the company, can we go sleep well at night? When we come to you with problems, will you give us solutions? So that keeps a lawyer very busy, very, very busy. Okay. Vivek, how to become in-house counsel? So another question I saw, I remember about fresher, right? Does a fresher have opportunity to be an in-house counsel? So let me explain this part, okay? So generally, in-house legal departments are afraid of hiring freshers. Okay, no kidding. They're scared of hiring freshers because they do not have time to train them. Okay, I know I say that all the time, but this is what it is. You go and check. There are few in-house teams which hire freshers. Okay, who are those teams? Those teams have large number of lawyers. You know why they hire freshers? Because if they have large number of lawyers, then the assumption is that this large number of lawyers is enough bandwidth to teach young lawyers. This teaching and training work will get absorbed in this large pool of lawyers that we have in our legal team. Correct? So that's very important. But if I have a smaller team, if I have two lawyers in my company, I'm not going to hire a third lawyer who is a very junior person, because the fear is that now these two people will spend 2 hours a day training the junior person, and that's not okay. That's a big waste of time. It's a criminal waste of time for a company. So they wouldn't hire a fresher. So what they do is that, we'll pay a little extra. Okay, maybe we can hire a fresher at 30,000 or 50,000. Rather, we'll pay 1 lakh or 70,000 and hire somebody a little more senior, right? So they are happy to hire somebody, pay somebody a lakh or 2 lakhs, depending on how big the business is and what is at stake for them. They're ready to pay more, but they're not ready to hire junior people. Okay. So how do you get around this? If you're a fresher and you want to work as an in-house counsel, it is difficult because there are so few companies that hire in-house counsels. And it is not necessary that you start your career as an in-house counsel. You can start your career as a litigator or a law firm lawyer and shift into in-house counsel later, after 1 year. So if you have 1 year of experience or 2 years of experience, then a company will not hesitate to hire you. Now there is a workaround. They will hire you if you have done long-term internship with them. Okay. So if you are a student, you want to get an in-house legal job, what you should be doing is looking for internships in in-house legal teams. Okay. And once you get such an internship, do try and extend that internship. Do not try to finish the internship and get another one and get another one. The idea is that you should stay there long enough to become indispensable there, for them to get a sense that yes, this guy can do the work. There's no risk, he's already trained. You understand? Okay. It is very important that the place where you want to get hired, they see that hiring you is not a risk. Hiring you will not be a cost on the company because you already know the work that they require you to do. Okay. That's your secret weapon. That's your holy grail. That's your goal. That when I show up for an internship, they should see that I am already as good as the 1 year, 2 year old lawyer that they're going to hire. I can already do their work and it's there, it's in front of their face, so they can't deny me a job. Okay, that should be a strategy. The same thing for those of you who are practicing lawyers and want to move in house. Okay, now I'll talk about your problems. Practicing lawyer outside and you want to move in house. Okay, what they want to see and what problem they face in an in-house legal team. So there are two scenarios. One is that you're getting hired by a businessman. Okay, somebody who's not a lawyer is hiring a lawyer for the first time. It's a very likely scenario because there are so many startups, so many SMEs, so many companies now hiring lawyers in-house, right? They didn't do it before. It was not common for an SME or a startup to have an in-house lawyer. But now almost everybody does, okay? So if you are the first lawyer who's getting hired, okay, in the company, they have never hired. So then it will all depend on your ability to convince the business person that you can understand business, that you have a plan and you have ideas as to how you are going to reduce his legal costs, reduce his legal headaches, reduce his risk of running the business. If you can convince him of that, he will take it. He does not care. He does not care. I repeat, it does not matter how many cases you have won in which court. It does not matter how many deals of famous clients you have done. It does not matter much. Okay? What matters in the end of the day is the businessman convinced that you can help his business. We tend to go with a CV and throw it on people's face. Okay? Look at my CV, I have done this, now give me a job, right? Who doesn't work with business people? They'll not hire you unless they see that you have a plan and you can execute it, and that you understand their pain, you understand their business problems. Okay, that's critical. The other part very critical of you might get hired by a lawyer. There's already a legal team in place in the company and they are hiring more lawyers, right? Now things are a little different. How is it different? You will be now facing some lawyers who already are doing the work and they are more picky, they are more judgmental. They already work with many outside counsels and they don't like them already. Okay? And they understand the problems you're going to face transitioning from a practicing lawyer to an in-house counsel. They know there's a great deal of difference in the work. It's like chalk and cheese. So you need to be first explain to them that you understand the difference. Okay? You understand the difference, that the work you have been doing is very different than the work you are going to do now as an in-house counsel. If you can explain to them this, half the job is done. The second part is that you actually having knowledge of vast areas of law. Okay, because what an in-house counsel interview is very different from a law firm interview. They are going to ask you questions about the problems that they're currently facing in their company and see that if you can give any inputs on that. Do you understand? Okay, so for example, if I am an in-house counsel of my company and I'm interviewing you to hire you, I might ask you questions about this. Imagine that we are getting sued by our students in a district court or a consumer court in a distant place in Kochi or Aurangabad or wherever. Okay, how to decide, should we fight this case or should we settle this case? Okay, and your answer would tell me that number one, do you understand the law? Number two, do you understand the business? Do you have the business acumen to understand what is the right thing to do? Are you thinking like a business at all? Because if you cannot think like a business, then you can't be a good in-house counsel. Okay. Let's say let's say there was a raid by competition commission in their office. They're going to ask you how to handle this. Is there any action you can take? And if you can give an answer that they don't already know or they already know, right, after research, they'll be like, wow, this person already knows what we figured out after research. And that is what you need to aim at. That's why, if you are going for a law firm interview, if you know that you are going to, interview with the partner who does international arbitration or a partner who does investment law, then it's clear for us, it's very clear for us, right? What exactly we need to do. Isn't that it? I mean, we have to prepare for that area of law, maybe a little bit around that. But when you're going for an in-house counsel job, I cannot predict what questions you're going to get. You might be asked anything that they're facing. So you can research that company and you can try to predict what problems they might be having and prepare accordingly. But you need to understand that it is like that in an in-house counsel's job, that you need to have a bit of knowledge of everything. Every law is relevant to you. Every law is a potential threat or it is a source of competitive advantage, either of these two. So if there is any law being created that affects any business, anything, there may be some problem in it. You have to go and check it. Literally, if there is a Citizenship Amendment Act which is going on, you might think, what is the relevance for us in this? Maybe it does not matter to us. But if you're an in-house counsel, your job is to go and check the act and ensure that there is nothing that's going to harm your company. You may come to the conclusion, yes, there's nothing. That's fine. But you have to see, because no matter what law it is, it might have something that may affect your business. Okay. And if it is not there, you confirm it is not there. That's how it is. Okay. Let's see some of the questions. What experience is required to become in-house counsel? There is, the experience threshold is very low. Even if you have 1 year of experience, 2 year of experience, you could go in-house. There is nothing that they won't hire if you have just 1 year of experience. Okay, so I don't think that's the point here. The point is that what is the company, what size it is, how many lawyers are already there, what all of that matters, right? And it's always easy to get a job in a smaller company which has a not it's either it doesn't have a legal team or it has a very small legal team. Easier to get a job there and then move up the chain. You know, getting a job at Google at the outset may be hard, but if you can get a job in a tech startup and then you move to a little more well-known startup, over time you might be even be working for Google because you have the CV to show that. Okay, you have the track record of working in tech startups, so you might eventually get accepted in Google. After being in practice some time, can you shift to become in-house lawyer? Prerna is asking. If yes, how to find jobs and what should reflect in CV? Yes, you can. Absolutely, you can. Uh, what should reflect in CV is your variety of experience, right? The more variety you show that, oh, I have handled this also and that also, and corporate governance also, I have handled, litigation also, I have done, data privacy also, I have done it, like so many diverse experience that makes you valuable to a company. Or it could be that diversity is of less importance, but there's a certain position. Sometimes sometimes a company has a specialist requirement. Okay, for example, you know what we realize that we have 10 different acquisitions coming up in the next 1 year. In next 1 year, we're going to acquire at least 10 companies. Then instead of paying law firms for each deal, can we hire, in-house, like just hire a law firm partner, bring him inside, let him do the work, or hire a senior associate if that's our budget. Or I may realize that, you know what, right now there's a lot of recoveries to be done, a lot of IBC matters. So let's hire an IBC expert. Then they hire specialists. So if that is the situation, you have to understand why are they hiring. What role are they hiring for? Is it a generalist role or a specialist role? Specialist roles are rare in in-house jobs. And even if you're a specialist, you can show that, yes, I have diverse experience and I can help with this also and that also. That an in-house counsel will love because they know that tomorrow there will be some firefight somewhere. Have you heard that? How can you imagine? Like, I was talking to a lawyer for a big hotel chain, 5-star hotel chain. Okay. And it turns out that some idiot of an employee somewhere in some border of Nepal has served some wild animals meat as food. Okay. And because of that, their license got cancelled of that hotel. There are like cases under Wildlife Act. He never thought that he'll have to learn Wildlife Act. Like, I am in the hotel business. How does Wildlife Act apply to me? But it does sometimes. So if you have that versatility that you can pick up anything and deal with it, then in-house counsels will welcome you with open arms because they know that some random crazy thing will happen somewhere, and your versatility and talent will be useful there. So that's how it works. Nehal is asking 9 years of experience, want to settle in-house. CV is important. Of course, CV is important. Yeah. So Nehal, any further questions, please ask. What are the other questions? I don't want to miss any important questions. Okay, someone is asking, if as an in-house counsel you're working for a private firm, then what are the major laws you should know? You should know company law. You should know dispute resolution, arbitration, civil litigation, criminal litigation less, but at least civil litigation and arbitration and NCLT litigation these days, very important. If you are a listed company, you said private, but if it is a listed company, the public company, listed company, then you need to know SEBI regulations also. You need to know business structuring, which is not a act, but an area of work that, uh, investment, how money is managed, accounts. You need to understand balance sheet. You need to understand accounts and taxes. You need to understand licenses and compliances. Compliances is so many different laws. Then you need to understand government policy to an extent. You need to understand technology law, cyber law. You need to understand IP law. You need to understand real estate. You need to understand labor and employment. You need to understand import export. You need to understand government contracts. Okay, so if in doubt, I'll just do something. I'll just show you the modules that we have in a course that we offer for in-house counsel. That will make you clear, because we thought that these are the things that are most important for an in-house counsel. Let me show you quickly. So there's a syllabus here. I'll just share the link with all of you. You don't have to go through it. You can just see it. Those of you, I recommend all of you check it out. Here you go. But what you need to learn, we have covered it here. So even you, I'm not asking you to do the course if you don't want to, but go through the syllabus. That'll give you clarity on what you need to learn, because there are the exact modules that after talking to a lot of in-house counsels, we figured that yes, these are the things you need to learn. Contract drafting, so there's a module on that. You need to learn a module on vendor management, attrition management, whatever the specific things, specific problems that companies have at a scale. A lot of companies have the same problems. So we are, so that is there. So if you can learn this from us or from anywhere, you might go through the list and realize you already know all this, then you're ready, then you don't need to do anything. But yeah, these are the things that you essentially would want to learn. Okay, so go through the syllabus of this link and you will know. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. Opportunity can create it for in-house lawyer in company. Yes, opportunities are there. Can we do internship at LawSikho? Yes, you can. You can. Sir, can we get courses on less price or free? The answer is no. We already charge very little for all the services that we provide, and we do not give discounts. We have the same price for everybody as a policy, and free, no. We give some free courses to IDIA scholars who are, some needy students. We can't do charity beyond the point. So, what's your take on retainership versus in-house? That's a good question. Thanks for that question, Nehal. Let me run you through. So, what happens is retainerships are like when I have the same work again and again, I might give a retainership to somebody, right? But when I give a retainership to somebody, I am giving us, a fixed scope of work, right? That does not take care of my in-house needs. So, for example, if I have 30 contracts to draft every month, I might give you a retainership that Nehal, you draft these contracts and I pay you 60,000 per month or whatever, right? And you might take that work and it works for you. Maybe you'll not do it yourself. Maybe you're just overseeing. You have some juniors who does it, or you do it yourself depending on the scale of your business, right? However, if I do this, I am not getting an in-house counsel who will sit in my company and look at even more things, because it's not just the 30 contracts that I have, right? I have some other work too. Maybe I need somebody to figure out how to comply with the new data protection law. I need somebody to make a sexual harassment policy. I need somebody to create other employment policies in my company. I need somebody to, handle some of the litigations. So if I am paying money to you as a retainer, you're not going to do all of these at once. Okay. And if you do, if that is the deal that, yeah, I'm going to pay you 60,000 and you're going to do everything, whatever comes, then you are essentially an in-house counsel only, no matter what name you give to it. There are people who want to do that and they say that, you know what, I want to take work outside also. There are small companies which sometimes allow you, but it doesn't work very well in the long term. I'll tell you why. Because when you are working as an outside lawyer, you might be able to get that work done, the work that is right there, what is clearly given to you. But the anticipatory defensive moves, that doesn't happen. Seems I have a bad cold. But yeah, that doesn't happen. Okay, you are not able to take care of things. Okay, you are not able to foresee things for the company when you are a retainer. because you're not right in the middle of their business. Does in-house counsel work require a lot of contract drafting? Absolutely, Keshav. In many jobs, 50-60% of in-house counsel's work is contract drafting, sometimes 70%. Most of bulk of the work is contract drafting, negotiation and enforcing contracts. There are other things also. I'm just saying that sometimes, and not, there are different jobs, right? Many companies, what they do is that their legal team is organized in this way. There will be one team which is doing contracts, one team doing litigation, one team doing compliances, three different teams. So depending on where you are going, the work may be different. But in any company, in my experience, a lot of their work is related to contracts, major work. And if you're good at contract drafting, people hire you in-house because they know that, oh, you can do something else or not. As long as you can do contracts, they're saving money because they don't have to give it outside. It's a very clear value proposition for a company to hire you for that perspective. Okay. Okay. What are the challenges to face in early days of practice? Mindset problem. Lawyers are taught to be critics, to be to find faults, to find why things don't work. Because if you want to draft a good contract, you need to see where the contract will go wrong so that you can plug that loophole in the contract, right? Some people do not have the complete training. They only know, oh, here is this is written in the law. Therefore, you can't do it. That doesn't work. And mindset change, that's the biggest problem you face. Another problem you'll face is to understand the business because you don't understand business. As a lawyer, you don't need to understand the business. But as an in-house counsel, you have to care for the business, not even understand. You have to understand and care for it. The more you care for it, more you'll succeed as an in-house counsel. That's the biggest challenge you'll face. And of course, like some random law that you never read coming up, and you have to make sense of it and be able to do it. So being well read helps. Okay, guys, if you have no further questions, I'm going to put an end to this session. I have my Sunday to enjoy, so do you. You have your Sunday rest of the day to enjoy. So tell me, what are you guys taking back from this session? Anything, any conclusions, any action points for you after listening to me for 1 hour? Any action points that you're gonna implement? Anything helped? Also give me a ranking, like, give me 0, like 1 to 10, 1 for really bad, 10 for very, very good. Just give me some marks also, so I know that if I was good or bad, did I meet your expectation or not. Also give me ideas for sessions I can take next, and how can I help you? Do let me know. I'll share my phone number also. If you want my advice, suggestions, feel free to reach out. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your Sunday and your time with me. Hope to see you soon again. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.